Well, all right, Andrew, we are here to talk about the March 31st episode of Raw.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Meet Monday.
Sir. Meet Monday, as we like to call it. Pat McAfee, thank you for that one. Where you want to start off? You want to go straight into Cena? You want to save that for last? What sounds like a good plan for you, brother?
Let's go straight into Cena.
All right, so the Cena segment looked like it was going to start off like the other ones had, where he came out and started spitting for a while. And by the way, I do want to say, out of all the crowds that have been doing the John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks, this one was like the worst one. Like, they were dragging, and as it kept going, they were dragging more and more till they were like 2 beats behind. I was like, yeah, y'all just gotta stop. And eventually they just went like, ah, blah, 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 blah.
Stop the cat.
But then we got Cody Rhodes coming out almost instantly.
My boy was dressed up.
Oh yeah. That thick pinstripe suit, yeah.
Oh man, he came out all dapper like he got that belt on his shoulder. Like, who you think you're talking to, John?
Yeah, no, he came out swinging too. He was not going to let John get the first punch. He came out there and he was like, I already know all your tricks. You're going to come after me about my lisp. You're going to come after me about Stardust. You're going to come after me about my tattoo. Mm-hmm. John was like, no.
No. John tried to get that cheap shot on him too. You saw that?
He did. Yeah. But before we get to the cheap shot, I want to talk about what John had said about talent, because I don't know how much you know about John Cena, because I know we're both newer fans to this whole scene, but it's been pretty widely talked about that whenever there's a new talent coming in, they put him up against Cena. Depending on who they are, he is pretty willing to put him over. If it's like, okay, we're just trying to find a way to make him look good, Cena will offer it up, be like, hey, why doesn't he just beat me and give them a good look, right? So when Cena's looking at Cody and he's telling him, he's like, I don't bury talent. I don't, okay? I bury mediocrity. It's like there's a little bit of precedent set behind that. What I thought was really interesting about Cena's promo is for the last few weeks, I feel like he's been nailing down on these like really deep issues that have been affecting him. And then when it comes to talking about Cody, he got to the chauffeur bit. And he was treating it like it was like a fifth grade diss, like, you're my chauffeur, you drive me around. That part really fell flat for me. And he was acting like that was like the biggest burn in the world. But I get why he was saying it, because it was like, to him, Cody is nothing but just like a failed understudy. Yeah, it's like, you didn't learn from me the things that you should have learned. You only learned what you felt like you needed to get by. Everything about you is artificial. It's fake. It's plastic.
I mean, you look at one of the skins in the game, he's full of plastic.
Hey, listen. John's got one of them too. John's also got a fully invisible shit, so we can't even go to the game for a point of reference. Can't even see him. Overall 100 rating. That shit's crazy.
That's crazy. 100 rating, jeez.
But yeah, no. They went back and forth for a little bit. And then Cena starts to leave, and Cody goes, no, you get back here. What's the one thing that they've never ever said to me that they say to you, Mr. Cena? You can't wrestle. You can't wrestle. Now, do you know, I don't think we have seen a "you can't wrestle" chant since we've been watching. Do you know typically where that comes from?
I do not.
It's if they're bored. If the crowd is bored, like they're watching the match and it's just dragging, going real slow, that's what typically brings out the "you can't wrestles." And John's been kind of known for doing like 30, 40-minute matches when he was wrestling regularly.
I see. Gotta stop dragging it, John.
Gotta stop dragging it. And then, yeah, we got the cheap shot after that. Oh, well, sorry, let me back up real quick. When Cody said that you can't wrestle, did you see John's face?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it looked like he got cold water splashed on him. He started looking to his left, to his right. He didn't feel so good anymore. And then he went for that cheap shot, and we got the crossroads. You saw him drop to the floor like a sack of potatoes. That man's not getting up.
Oh, he's not getting up out of that one.
And when I originally saw that, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I remembered being like, I don't really like that too much because the crossroads, that's a move that you're going to see busted out 2 or 3 times during a match. So I didn't really like seeing it lay Cena out the way it did.
Yeah.
But I also understand that that's part of how promos go. Like, whatever damage is multiplied by like 500% during a promo segment.
This is true, yeah. Also, Cena's getting a little bit older now. He's at the end of his career.
So, what are you thinking about this whole feud? Because I know at one point you were not sold on it.
Yeah, I wasn't like really sold on it in the beginning because it's just like, obviously, like, I don't know how Cena was in his prime days or whatever, right? I always thought that he was like he was favored, People really liked him. And then, like, to see him come out during my time of watching wrestling, just like everyone hates me and whatnot. It's just like, I don't know where this came from, Cena. I thought people loved you.
Well, so you got to listen to what he's saying when it comes to that conversation, because they do love him, but they're not treating him as a person. They're treating him as just like this entertainment machine. It was like when he came out for his first promo and he was like, no, I will not have a new outfit. I will not have new entrance music. You will not get that from me as much as you want it. Because he's like, all you guys do is take. You film me without my consent. You've been doing this stupid invisible joke for so long. It's like, the fans obviously love him to death. It was just, he's spinning it in a way to be like, you guys have been this terroristic, abusive threat on me throughout my life, and he's airing it out that way. But how are you feeling about it now?
Come on, John, that's you, though. You're the Invisible Man. Come on, John. I mean, I guess I can see where he's coming from.
I can see where he's coming from. I mean,
turn the heel and all that. You're better, man.
It's a manipulation tactic. That's all it is. John Cena, I feel like he's not confident in his ability to do it on his own merit in this day and age. So he's got to do what he can to get it. Just going through The Rock, having him pull rank and make all this happen at Elimination Chamber, Yeah. Maybe that's just what he saw as the path of least resistance. It's like, I can go evil and bend Flair over my heel. Give him a few spanks on the bottom as I take his record from him, erase his name from history.
If that's what he thinks is going to win it, but I'm afraid not. I'm afraid you ain't going to get it this time, Cena, no matter how much power you put behind you.
Yeah, so
I'm for Cody.
Your idea for Mania is that there's no way Cena's going to get it?
I think Cena can try, but I'm sure Cody will find a way to come up on top.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm on the opposite end. I think Cena is going to get it. Because then we have like this story of this WWE legend who broke Flair's record, right? Like, I can see the company wanting one of their talents to be the one who has that record set. But even more so than that, I think it would be really interesting to have him win that title and then he doesn't go home. Maybe he's just a big liar, right? And he keeps going on because they've already confirmed that he's going to be at Backlash. Whether he wins or loses, they said that on Raw. John Cena will be at Backlash, which is the first PLE after Mania. So let's say he wins it, yeah? And then we have the story of Cody trying to scramble to get his title back. But let's say we also have Cena coming back around on the fans. We have the Cena redemption arc where he walks back into the light. Maybe the final event that we see Cena doing, maybe that's a Rock match where we see him come back and they get to do like one last blow off where it's like Cena reclaiming his soul.
That'd be nice.
I think it would be pretty interesting. Now, you had something specific that you wanted to talk about with this match, didn't you? Or with this promo, I mean. Excuse me.
You already went over everything I had. Yeah,
oh, okay.
You covered my bases on what I want to talk. Yeah. We're good.
I thought that we would see a little bit more between them this segment. I feel like this wasn't as strong as some of the other ones were, but I like that Cody got his "you can't wrestle" dig in, and we saw some sort of physical altercation before it went off.
Yeah, they're really just holding it all back for WrestleMania.
Yeah, they're really.
All right, well, moving on from Cena, do you have a place that you prefer to go next?
I brought up Cena. You bring up your next piece. Where do you want to go from here?
I think I want to save Rhea and Io for the end. So we can go straight into talking about Jimmy and Gunther if you'd like. And what were your feelings on this before I start going on my rant and ramblings?
I feel bad for Jimmy. My man, Jimmy.
You feel like he did it to himself at all, though?
He kind of did, yeah. But I feel like this is...
The whole...
This is also good in a way for Jay. I feel like Jay seeing all that and Gunther, tying him to the fucking, or to the rope. I feel like, it's just like, it brings out all that anger and it's like, we are getting the main event Jey Uso back.
No, I agree. I feel like this segment really saved this Jay Gunther storyline, especially for me, because I was very disinterested in this from its inception. When Jay won the Royal Rumble and then a few weeks had passed and we started to get the idea he was going after Gunther, it was like the last non-Elimination Chamber Royal Rumble PvE, it was Gunther versus Jay, and I remember I didn't really care for that match that much. So the idea of them doing it again at Mania, it was just kind of, groan-inducing. And then we've had this few weeks of build-up where it was Gunther taking on Tozawa, and then Jay going up against Waller in Theory, and it was just doing nothing for me. Until tonight. Monday, I guess I should say. When they had this match and took it as far as it did, well, first of all, if we look back on the week prior, when Jay had stumbled trying to go for Gunther and there was that backstage segment between Jay and Jimmy. Do you remember the look on Gunther's face after Jimmy slapped him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a smile of, oh, okay, this is how we're going to do it. I'll see you. I will see you in the ring next week.
And boy, he brought it.
Did you watch that Tozawa and Gunther match from about 3-4 weeks ago?
I'd have to recap myself.
So it was something that kind of made this Jimmy match feel recycled while the actual match was happening. Like from bell to bell, the way the fight itself went over with Jimmy just having that explosive force in the beginning, Gunther weighing him down, the holding him down for a pin, and 1-2, Gunther pulling him back up like, no, I'm not done with you. It's like, okay, I've seen this already, and now it's just Jimmy, and I get what it's supposed to be. But then the bell rang, and Gunther just kept going. And it got worse and worse up until Jay runs out. And you see Gunther pull a Liv Morgan and start running out of the arena. Yeah. And I remember being like, that's not very characteristic of him. But I had also already had it spoiled that he gets bloodied up. So I knew it was coming. And then I see the zip ties come out. And we see this absolute brutalization of Jimmy. Did you see the pool of blood next to his face? When the segment was over, when Gunther was finally walking away, and it was just Jay and Jimmy laying there.
Yeah.
Jimmy had just this pool of blood right by his face. It was kind of making me choke up a little bit.
Yeah, it was crazy. They took the segment, really far. Also, can I say security? Security?
Yeah. Well, they didn't even really try. And did you hear Michael Cole at one point? He was like, call the general manager. What are you doing? Because they're just standing there in the back watching this go on. Yeah. But I feel like this is exactly what they needed for this storyline. And it was something that the second that I had seen Jimmy bloodied up, I was like that Martin Scorsese picture, that absolute cinema, because we know where it's going to go. It's like you were talking about. We're going to see main event Jey Uso. That man had to witness his brother get absolutely brutalized. He's like, okay, Gunther, you want to play it like this? This is how you want to be? I'm going to see you in 3 weeks.
Oh, main event Jay is back. And we're about to see a fantastic match coming up here soon between them two.
And I should say that I am not one of the people that hate Jey Uso because of a limited moveset or anything like that. I like Jey Uso. I feel like he's good energy. Both times I've seen him live, it's been fantastic. His presence is unbeatable, almost, I would say, in the company as it stands at the moment. And I feel like he can put on a good show, even if it's not the most technical thing in the world. So I'm really excited to see where this goes with them. I just hope that we do get to see this like junkyard dog side of Jay, where he's losing it and giving Gunther everything he's got. And you know, another thing I thought about, Andrew, is if you look at the last few weeks, yeah, we've seen Jay wrestle, but I feel like Gunther has wrestled almost every week for the last while. And this Jimmy one had to have taken a lot out of him. And if Gunther even wrestles one more week, I feel like we're running the risk of seeing a compromised Gunther at Mania, where he's just spread himself too thin. He doesn't have anything left in the tank, you know?
Yeah, that man, fight after fight. Like, you gotta take a break at some time, man.
Yeah, there's got to be some prep time. You got to take care of yourself a little bit before going into a match like that. So I'm wondering if maybe this is all going to backfire on him. And I get it. He wants to send Jay a message. You guys are below me. You're not worth my time. I don't even want this match. But I want to make sure that you're so broken by the time we get there that I can just walk over you. I get it. But I think it may backfire. I think he's setting himself up for failure a little bit.
Too much food on the plate, man.
All right. Where do we want to go from here? So I think there's only really one big topic to talk about, so let's hit some of the smaller ones. We got AJ Styles and Logan Paul set for Mania. Do you have any strong feelings about that one way or another?
I don't really have any crazy feelings. I don't really know AJ like that. I think he came from A&W. Am I saying that right? A&W? A&E? A&W?
AEW. I think he was TNA and then came over to WWE.
I don't know too much about him. Logan's Logan. You know, we all hate Logan. I shouldn't say we all hate him, but I feel like the majority of people hate him, but he's good for the show.
Well, let's take his personality away from it. What do you think of him as an in-ring talent? His ability once the bell rings?
I think he's good. I think he's great.
And AJ Styles is pretty phenomenal as well. Nice little pun for everybody out there. So I think it's safe to say that this Mania match is just going to be oh my God, oh, I can't believe they did that. It's probably going to be 20 minutes of that. I don't think that there's really going to be any kind of outcome from it because, you know, there's nothing on the line. It's just kind of like two dudes need to blow off steam. But I think it'll be a good visual. It'll be a lot of oohs and ahs. It'll be a spot fest, you know?
Yeah, it'll be a good fight. It can go either way. I wouldn't be upset if AJ or Logan lost. You know, it's just it'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I do think that there's something to say about what it would mean for them as characters if they do win. I think whoever wins will probably have a better chance of running for a title next. If Logan Paul decides that he wants to work that much, I don't know, he may go back to Tetris tournaments or unboxing Pokemon cards, whatever else sounds fun that week. But if he wins and he decides to stick around, that could be a title run for him. And I feel like AJ is probably going to wind up going for a title run regardless. Even though I feel like it's a little bit beneath him with his status, I can almost see him going for the U.S. title over on SmackDown side.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know much about AJ, but Logan, I can see him going for a title down the line.
Yeah, now Logan, I feel like if he gets it, he may go a little bit higher because he was the United States champion for, I believe, over a year before LA Knight wound up ripping it from him a few months back. And then it was Shinsuke, and now it's back to LA Knight. I know that we're in the midst of trying to find a number one contender for that. Well, no, I guess it's Braun Strowman, because that was another thing that happened was it was a title match, wasn't it? Between Strowman and Knight on a SmackDown that Fatu wound up interrupting.
Yep.
Yeah, but we're drifting a little far from the point here. Anyway, I'm excited to see that match. I'm excited to see how that turns out. Finn Balor, after his win with Dominic against Penta and Breaker tonight, he says that he's going to try to go talk to Pierce for a title shot. What title is that man possibly going after?
I don't know.
I wonder if he's
hands on.
I reckon it would have to be Gunther's, but I don't know when they would even try to do that match unless this is just setting up for after Mania, which you could probably argue there's been a lot of that going on. Like going back to SmackDown for a second, we had the Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair stare down. That's definitely going to become something later on down the line when Tiffany is either out of the picture or is not the main focus anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that all shakes out with them. Maxine Dupree is looking to start having some, I believe it was a tag match. Wasn't that what they said? She's looking to try to get teamed up with someone.
Yeah, I believe she's going to team up with...
I didn't hear them say a name, so if you got a name, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'm about to lie to you here. Yeah, I'm about to lie to you here. I'm over here like, yeah, she about to partner up with...
you said...
I don't know who she partner with.
You said, get it twisted. I know who her tag team partner is going to be.
Get it twisted, yeah.
Get it twisted. Yeah, no, she went up to Pierce and was like, I'm thinking about tag team opportunity, and he was like, yeah, I'm always here to talk about Tozawa and Otis. And she's like, no, I want to talk about me. So I know that we've seen her do some singles matches over the last little bit, but I guess she's wanting to go the way of B-Fab and start stepping out from the manager position and wrestle a little bit more, and I'd be down to see it. I'm definitely still all in with the, what do they call themselves? Is it the Alpha Babes or the American Babes?
I think it's American Babes.
Whichever one it is. I like them. And I like them for more than a comedy gimmick. I think they're pretty funny, so I guess that is a comedy. They're funny. I like watching their matches. I feel like Otis could be a real monster. And I don't know if it's just because he's doing the comedy gig or what, but they don't really let him shine as one. But I would love to see what would happen. I want to see a Dark Otis storyline before he leaves the company.
You want to see a dark storyline?
Yeah, I want to see Dark Otis. I want to see him like embrace his dark side. Send him over to the Judgment Day. Let him be a loner for a little bit.
Hey, that can be their last member that they're looking for.
Yeah, who needs Malachi Black? Let's bring in Otis. Yeah, that's going to be funny to see that play out. I see they're still teasing him. They haven't fully announced that he's coming, but it looks like they're showing his teasers on SmackDown. So I'm really not sure what that means for the Judgment Day themselves over on Raw, but I guess we'll find out sooner rather than later, especially with us getting Rey Fenix next week. Yeah. Or this week even. That's in just a couple days. All right. Is there any other little things I'd missed that you would want to bring up? We got another El Generico segment, except it wasn't El Generico. It was Gable. And how he's not going to get to be in his hometown because he's still sick. Cough, cough.
Cough, cough. Anything from this Friday? Probably, this Monday? Probably not.
Yeah, let's say if you want to go to this Friday, I still was liking that Naomi promo. But yeah, from this Monday, there's nothing else I could really think of. Liv Morgan is turning Dominic against Finn more and more every day. And I had to really sit there and think about it. I was like, you know what? What she's saying makes a lot of sense, but you could also take a look at her as just causing drama for the sake of drama. I don't know. I think it might be time for Finn to get the boot and hop on out of there and them to get someone else. Because they kicked Priest out over the whole no leaders thing. And Finn Balor's just been the biggest damn hypocrite I've ever seen in my life ever since he wound up taking over Priest's slot.
Yeah, I mean, Finn's cool. I don't see him as a leader. I think he's kind of selfish.
Well, I'll tell you this about Finn. If I have to give Finn one thing, I'm glad that they changed his walk-in graphics to where it doesn't say fuck anymore. Because every time the fuck came on screen, I was like, who is this man?
Who is this man?
All right, so Io, Rhea, and Bianca. Before we talk about what happened this week specifically, I want to ask you, what's your feelings on this feud as a whole, as an entire package? Where's your stance on it?
I'm enjoying it. I like it. I'm happy Io is getting some action here. But I mean, really, it's all because of Rhea, you know?
Okay, well then I guess I will be the heel for this conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, you be the heel for the conversation. Rhea over here like, I'm gonna meet you at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Not anymore. She may get away.
I have not been a fan of this storyline in the slightest, to be honest with you. I just haven't really found it super interesting. It was weird because for the longest time I couldn't tell who was even supposed to be the bad guy, because we got 3 people who have been basically baby faces for a while, which shouldn't be the case. Really, the only baby face in there should be Bianca. But, you know, with the way that the fans have been feeling towards her, we've been getting babyface Rhea pretty much ever since her return from the whole Liv situation. And Damage Control, which I'm under the impression is a heel group, Io's just been getting all the love in the world, which I love her too, don't get me wrong. But it feels like there's no real bad guy. We just have Rhea throwing a baby fit. Like, no, 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 no. I want this match. I want my WrestleMania match, and you're going to give it to me. I'm going to sign this contract. La, 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 la. Like, it's just been so immature and childish to me. And it just seemed like Bianca and Io sitting there like, what are we even doing? Like, they're just shrugging their shoulders. And then Bianca and Rhea want to have their ego off and try to leave Io out, which, spoiler alert on my predictions, I think Io's taking the whole thing home at the end of the day. But they keep counting her out, even though it seems like she's starting to be the biggest threat. And all we're getting is this dick measuring contest between Rhea and Bianca. And it just seems like it's very forced and kind of just Rhea being entitled with the whole thing going on. And I'm seeing everybody online complain about, how is this not a main event material? How is this not main event material? It's like, are any of you guys really, really into this? Like, for real? Or do you just like Rhea and you think she deserves it? You like Bianca, so you think they deserve it. Are these really good segments? Or is it just the star power? Or is it just the star power?
Yeah. I'm kind of looking at Rhea as like the bad person here. I know you said, you know, her baby face, in which I agree with like everything that you said. I'm looking at her as like the bad guy here though. Cause like, I mean, she come after Bianca and just that last match Monday, you know, got her disqualified. It's all because of Bianca. And of course, Io being there. She's in the way, I guess, of them too.
Well, that's the thing, though. She shouldn't be in the way because she's the one with the title. If anyone's in the way here, it's Rhea. And I agree with your assessment that Rhea is the heel. And I feel like they're really trying to push that, especially with how things were going on in this match here tonight. I feel like they really want Rhea to go back to being the heel for like the big women's heel for the company, but the fans are not understanding the assignment, and they just keep cheering her and cheering her. And I don't know about you, but for me, seeing Rhea's actions and the crowd's reactions is causing a lot of dissonance to where the whole thing is just not landing for me.
Yeah, I get you.
But
yeah, I get you on that.
We can talk about the actual match that went on tonight. We had Bianca as a special guest referee, which I feel like she did a pretty good job, like better than Seth Rollins with Punk and Drew. It seemed like, at least in the beginning, she was staying a little more out of their way, which I know Seth had started to be fair, but the other 2 guys kept fucking with him, so that's on them, and not really on Seth as much. Bianca was mainly left alone for the first little bit up until the end there. I want to ask you a question. And I'm going to give you an example of why I feel the way I feel about it. During the match, there was 3 different times I noticed where it felt like a cue was missed with Rhea and Io, where Rhea was supposed to do like a poison Karana or something, and she would go for it, and it was like Rhea just missed the cue. The first example was outside of the ring where, you know, she went back for it and Rhea fell after the fact. And then there was another one where Io had gone up to the top of the rope and tried to do the same move again, and Rhea didn't go for it and wound up turning it into a counter. And then there was another one where I believe Io countered the Eradicator, and then Rhea countered Io's counter. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's a botch, but I guess I want to hear your thoughts on it first. Did you think that was how it was supposed to be, or did you think it was a mess up? The first one was obviously a mess up. I don't think there's any debate on that one, but the other two.
Oh, I'm sure they were mess ups. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? Mess ups are bound to happen, especially with like a match like this. Yeah, I mean, mess ups are going to happen. Try to play it off, play it cool.
Yeah, it was... I expect there to be some sort of a debate about that, if it was supposed to be that way, or if it was a mess up, because it does seem like they're wanting to make Rhea look strong again, because I feel like she's had a period where she hasn't been looking the hottest, especially with that the headbutt counter to Io's diving crossbody tonight. I feel like that was a really good look for Rhea. But anytime a move like that happened during all three of those moments, if you look at Rhea's face, there's this moment of like, oh shit, where do I go with this now? Especially with the Eradicator, it was just this look on her face like, oh yeah, this wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, where do we go with this?
Don't play it off, do something.
And I couldn't tell if she was just out of it or what, because it was the same move for two of them. So I don't know if she was just shaken up by the environment or something was going on, but she seemed a little out of it. And then she kicks Bianca out of the ring, and it takes Bianca a little bit to rebound. And Rhea has Io on the ground for like 30 seconds. Some insane amount of time like that.
Yeah, at least 20 seconds down there. Crowd's counting. I think they stopped at, 11 or so, and she's still down there on the ground.
Yeah, they stopped at like 16. And then Rhea's looking at Bianca like, get in here and count it. And she does, and then Io winds up counting out, and you see Rhea start to act like it's rigged against her. Meanwhile, I would say Bianca was evenly unfair to both of them. And what I mean by that is anytime one of them would get the other in the corner or against a rope, instead of it being like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're out, Bianca gave them both like an 8 count. Like, I remember the first time Rhea took Io to a corner, she was like 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, get off. Like, giving them all the time in the world to waylay on each other, and it's going both ends. But Rhea's now got it in her head that that the game is rigged, even though Io pins her and still only gets to 2. And Bianca's over here thinking that Rhea's doing it on purpose. I think Rhea pins her Io one more time. Io kicks out, and then Rhea winds up hitting Bianca, and then Io does her dive and knocks out Bianca, and that's how we get our double DQ for the night. I don't even know what we're doing at this point when it comes to that. Like, I feel like they're painting it into a corner where now it has to go to a triple threat just because they can't make up their damn minds.
Yeah, I mean, just make it a triple threat at WrestleMania at this point. Give Rhea her WrestleMania match that she wants.
But do we want that, though? Do we want triple threat mania?
If it's what ends the story.
Fair enough. If that's what gets it over and done with, yeah, I can see that. I guess I kind of feel the same way about some of the other stuff that they got going on, so I see where you're coming from with that. Well, before we close this off, they talked about it on Raw, so I feel like I can bring it up here and us both still be fresh enough to where we can discuss it. The contract signing on SmackDown for the main event of Night 1. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Now, what did you think about that segment? Do you know the history behind Punk and the WrestleMania main event?
I don't, but I know it was like a very emotional moment for him. He's getting his main event.
Well, let me ask you this one as well.
I'm happy for him. I really am happy for him. You know, I like CM Punk.
I'm happy for him too.
I hope he can come out on top of this, but he's got a tough lineup ahead of him.
He does got a tough lineup ahead of him. But before we get too far into that, I want to circle back around one more time. Do you know the history behind Punk and Heyman? Like, do you know where this Heyman switch is kind of coming from?
I don't. Enlighten me.
Back in the day, before Punk had left, him and Paul Heyman had formed a pretty close bond because Vince didn't really believe in Punk, but Paul did. So he kept trying to push him to get him in the spots he needed to be. So they have a pretty long-standing relationship. I believe part of the story goes is that when CM Punk needed somebody to basically train him and get him ready, he wound up with Paul Heyman because Vince was wanting to send him away. So they'd been locked in for a really long time. CM Punk has this famous pipe bomb promo. And I remember during that at some point he throws out the "I'm a Paul Heyman guy" line. So they have a long-standing history together. So that's why there's all this temptation between Roman and Punk on where Paul's going to side and this whole favor and all this other stuff going on. So they got a whole bunch of history going into this. And one of the reasons that Punk had lost his love for this was because he kept getting denied this WrestleMania spot. He was always put in like a mid-card match during the show and even put in matches that people would claim to be was the real main event, but it wasn't in the main event slot. He didn't get the recognition as a main eventer. He didn't get the pay as a main eventer. Nothing like that. So this is his moment to get what, in his mind, he's deserved for the last 10, 13 years at this point.
I understand it now.
I understand it now. Between the three of them, I think Roman was probably the worst. If you've ever heard any of the old Roman promos from back like 2014 to 2016, it kind of seemed like he was channeling that energy of the suckerin' succotash era Roman Reigns, and it didn't land too well for me, but obviously it was very emotional for Punk. And Rollins flying off the handle the way he did, I thought he sold that amazingly, especially with all the history he has between both men in that ring, with CM Punk refusing to train him when he was in the training camp and all that stuff. Him and Roman in the Shield. There's just a lot. This is a powder keg, and I understand why they put it at the main event slot. I feel like this is something that's really going to shake things up. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And the favor. Yeah. Have you seen the theories on what the favor is? A lot of people are thinking the favor is going to be Punk getting added to the Night 2 main event against Cody and Cena as well. Yeah, I don't know how they would imagine that gets pulled off. I know Paul has a lot of pull. I don't know if he has that much pull.
Yeah, it would make for an interesting match.
That would be interesting. Well, that was Raw from March 31st. Andrew, do you have anything else that you want to talk about or bring up?
I think we're good on that note. Beat Monday.
Meat Monday is a wrap. We'll be back to talk about the next one. Are we going to try to talk about SmackDown as well from now on? Make it like a Raw SmackDown combo show?
Yeah, we can. Why not? Let's include both.
I think it's good to do it in the middle of the week like this too. If I can discipline myself to set time to actually watch these shows closer to when they air, it'll give it a few days to marinate. So I think that's a good plan moving forward. All right. Well, I'm Dan, and that's been Andrew. And thank you for sticking around this time and listening to us talk and ramble about wrestling. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey, have a good one.